my name is Anna, welcome to my channel, and today I'm doing a get ready with me while I talk about new releases. It's basically gonna be an anti-haul no matter what. Technically my no buy's done, but I did kind of purchase some things recently. By some I mean a lot. So I kind of don't want to buy anything right now just because I was like,
oh my gosh, I can buy things.
So somehow all of the lip products on my wish list the other day, they were all on sale at Ulta at the same time, and I'm like, maybe it's fate, destiny,
a horse.
I just can't, I couldn't pass it. How could I pass that up? Everything on my wish list, and most of the things have been on wish list for like quite a while, even if they haven't been physically there, like I've been mentally thinking about it. I feel like I'm justifying this to myself, but with all that said, I don't plan on purchasing a whole lot in just the upcoming months. I'm probably gonna start a low buy, but I don't really know exactly how I want to set things up yet. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to, you know, get ready. It's 4:47 p.m. I'm getting ready for nowhere, clearly, but like I thought, I don't know, I was just in the mood. I was bored, like most days, stuck inside. Sorry, this whole day my hair has just been weird. I don't know why. I washed it last night, so I thought, you know, it'd be kind of nice today. It actually looks less weird than it did earlier. I'd been wearing like it up in a scrunchie the whole day, but I don't know, it just looks oddly flat and like fluffy today. Like what is that? Why? I don't know. I don't know why. It seems weird, but I'm just gonna, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Clearly I don't care what I'm wearing because I still have to work out today. Sometime later. So before I get too rambly, my mirror's right here, so I'll probably be like putting on makeup. I'll be looking here, also I'll be looking at the releases and talking about it, but I'll try to not be staring at myself the whole time. I just thought it'd be, I don't know, I didn't want to stand here and just talk. I thought it'd be kind of cool for me to like do makeup too. I saw Julia Mazzucato. I don't know how to say her last name, but she's a really cool YouTuber and you should check her out. Anyway, she did a kind of talking about new releases while putting on her makeup, and I was like, that's kind of a nice twist. It's not just someone talking, you know. I don't know, I thought it'd just be kind of more fun this way, so yep. So the first product I actually found pretty interesting was the e.l.f. bite-size face duos. They have, I believe, 8 different shades, and some of them apparently are bronzers. I see one that looks more bronzery, one that I can't tell if it's a bronzer or just like a really warm toned blush. But it's the same size as the e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadow quads. I thought this was a really nice idea because, especially with, you know, the past several years, people have been really into just buying a ton of different shades, formulas, and just of any makeup item, but for cheek products especially, I feel like they take forever to use up, unless if you are really heavy-handed, or it's really small, or you have like one. It's just, as someone who pans things, I can attest that I definitely don't go through blushes every day. So I really appreciate how tiny these are, even though it's like, wow, it's like travel friendly. Obviously not many people are traveling right now, so that's not really why I'm interested in it. But I do really like how it's just smaller. You can easily store it. It's not awkwardly chunky or anything. It's just, you could put it in your bag in case if like you're going somewhere and you don't want your blush to fade. I don't know, it just seems really handy. as well as just I could actually potentially use it up because I believe each side has 2 grams. And because it's only, I believe, $3, it's not like, what, you make me pay that much and it's barely any product. It's a good price for how much you're getting. The next one I thought was kind of interesting because it broke the internet, basically. The Pure, I don't know why I said Pure so strangely there, and the Raw Beauty Christie collab. It looks like a really well, like, it's a nice collab. It looks like she put a lot of thought into it. I don't really watch her. I've seen a few of her videos. She seems like a nice person. I don't know why. Some people, it's like you want to get into, but you're just like, I don't really feel like watching their videos. And yeah, that's just how I feel about that. But I don't really like how it's a double-sided palette. I apparently it's more travel friendly that way, but the thing is, it's more travel friendly in terms of like it's not as long, it'd be shorter, but it's thicker, so it actually doesn't take that much less space. It's just a different dimensional width, depth, all these things, but it's not necessarily smaller. But another thing is I just feel like it's a hassle to like flip it around, and typically a lot of people who like brights want brights, but they don't necessarily want neutrals, and vice versa. People who like neutrals, in this case warm neutrals, wouldn't really be into the brights. And so I just kind of, I don't understand why it wasn't 2 palettes. I understand how she's kind of doing the duality of what she likes to do with her makeup, which I totally understand that because I myself enjoy neutrals and colorful ones depending on my mood and the occasion and all that jazz. But I just feel like most people would be getting it for one specific side and then they wouldn't really use the other side, which I feel like is kind of a waste. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people are just buying it because they enjoy Christie and who she is and her content, which, you know, that's fine and all, but I don't know. Even if someone that I really enjoyed watching made a collab, I don't think I would buy it unless I was genuinely interested in the product itself. I just never really understood. I understand wanting to support them, but it's like if you yourself aren't going to enjoy it and use it, why waste money? Why? I don't know. I just never really understood that whole mentality. But maybe because I've never had so much of an attachment to someone who has made a collab, so I don't know that feeling. Maybe one day I will, but do we like how incredibly messy I am right now? Neither side really catches my fancy because I don't love those warm neutrals. And for brights, I'm not into neons and kind of primary, secondary, more basic bright shades. I typically prefer more subtle colors. I'm just not a super like bright, colorful person. And I've just never been really drawn to those, with the exception of when I was little and I had magenta walls and a purple painted ceiling. Yep, we painted my ceiling. I didn't realize how weird that was until I got older and I was like, why did we paint my ceiling? Okay. The next one I almost added to my wish list was part of the BH Cosmetics like ice cream 8-pan palette eyeshadows. While these aren't necessarily super unique, you know, Colourpop and Huda and brands like that have been making a lot of monochromatic eyeshadow palettes that are kind of more miniature, and I really enjoy those concepts because I don't know, I feel like people typically have a color or two that they really enjoy, and I just think it's smart to make ones where it's like, you like this color? Here's a bunch of different undertones and depths and textures so that you can really enjoy this shade that you're attracted to. And for me, that typically is purples and greens, but honestly, I like a lot of colors, and it really just depends on my mood. So none of the eyeshadow palettes really caught my attention. Even the purple one, I don't feel the need to buy a purple palette, especially because I just bought this Colourpop Lilac You a Lot palette. Palette seems a bit redundant in my collection, but the green one, oh my gosh, for a second I was like, dude, should I add this to my wish list? But then I realized it's a bit... The thing I find weird is that the mattes seem very bright and a bit more warm, not always, but shimmers looked a lot more muted and cool toned, and the mattes looked so much brighter, and they didn't seem to match up to me. Also, the mattes, I'm looking for green mattes that are more pastel, but those are a bit too bright to the point where they're not quite pastel. I don't know, they just weren't what I wanted after looking at it closer, and so it's not on my wish list, but I did think that was kind of, you know, a cute release. Okay, so I just did my eyeliner and cleaned up the eyeshadow underneath with like, I guess it is the makeup eraser. I have some that are like Ulta brand, but I guess it's weird for me to say the makeup eraser because I know it's $20. I bought it for $6 at Walgreens. Anyways, that is why I do my eyeshadow first, because I'm a messy person. But the next release I wanted to talk about was the Midas Cosmetics face palette. I guess it's called the Dusk to Dawn collection, and I love how, like, diverse, I guess. They didn't just do one face palette, which a lot of brands do that, and I'm like, you really think that's gonna work on everyone, or do you just not care? Like, it just doesn't make sense to do one face palette, especially when they do face palettes that are like, has super light shades and super dark shades, and I'm like, unless if you're a makeup artist, I don't understand why you'd want that, because then half the shades most likely aren't gonna work on you, and then it's just, why would you buy that? So at least they did 4, which I think is a good amount. It's, you know, more than most brands would do. But what I found interesting was the last 2 look really deep, which that's awesome because a lot of brands don't go very deep for bronzer and contour at all. Like, it's only recently that there's starting to be a bit more options, including drugstore options for darker skinned people. But it's kind of weird because the light and the medium don't look that different from each other. And then there's this huge jump for like the second and the third one in the range. And I just feel like they're missing a 5th one for like the really medium dark skin tone. I don't know, it just seems like a really big jump, and yeah, I just feel like they could have chosen the shades a bit better, but maybe it could be the pictures. Again, it's all about lighting. I don't know how it actually looks, but I did kind of wonder about that. I wouldn't pick one of these up just because I'm not in need of any more blushes or highlights or anything like that, but I'm glad about how deep they go. Now, another release that I thought was really pretty was the Louise Eyeshadow palette. You know, I don't even know what it's called, but it's the new one, and it has all of these beautiful greens and blues and a bit of like purples, but it just looks really pretty. I would not buy it because it's not quite the color scheme that I would reach for. Some of the shades I would definitely enjoy, but it's a bit brighter than my preferences, and also I think it's really bulky packaging from what I've heard from the Louise eyeshadows, and I just don't understand why brands don't make everything as sleek as possible. especially certain drugstore brands, have been the worst at packaging. And it's like, I don't understand why. It's like, you don't have to have a mirror, you don't have to add that stupid applicator that won't do shit. I don't understand. It's okay if it's cheap packaging, just don't make it the size of Mars. Like, Physicians Formula? What? I looked on their website recently, and I'm pretty sure they repackaged their butter bronzer, but not, they just redesigned, like, the color scheme, but it's still the same stupid bulky packaging. And while now it's less important since I've changed the way I've organized my collection, before it was in kind of a little desk organizer-esque thing. I don't know if that's actually what it was made for or not. This guy I got at Goodwill a year or two ago for $2.99, and I absolutely still adore it. It's just beautiful shade of wood, and it's actually wood. And I used to organize all my makeup in here. Not all, but most of it. But I got a new desk with like a middle drawer that's thinner that you can like put a keyboard in. But I found that I really enjoyed having everything spread out, so nothing's like overlapping. I can just see everything, and I really like that. So the thickness of the product doesn't matter as much because everything's laid flat now. But when I did have it like this, the thickness mattered a lot because it'd be a lot harder to store. I just don't understand why brands do it. This next one I thought I should talk about because I feel like it's marketed towards my age group, my demographic, my generation. I am 18, and so I guess I'm the generation that really loves TikTok, so I don't own TikTok. I literally just got an Instagram account for the first time a couple minutes ago just so I could look at beauty news and trend mood without it constantly being like, get an account. I just thought it'd be easier this way, but I don't actually use Instagram or anything like that. I just don't care. But the Morphe 2, I think is what they called their new brand. First off, that's creative. I don't know if it's like a new brand or if it's just like a branch of the brand, similar to like Fourth Ray Beauty is just a branch of Colourpop, or like Norvina is part of ABH, but they could have named it something else. Like, why Morphe 2? Like, do they just not care about thinking creatively? I don't understand. But it's basically this Glossier-esque vibe, but with Morphe. So they have like a skin tint, kind of like cream eyeshadows in pots, some lip glosses in like the 90s tubes, and some brushes of face gloss, I think. Because the faces of that brand are the two, I don't know their names. They're two TikTok girls and their sisters, and one of them's on that TikTok show that's like Grey's Anatomy, but not at all. Anyways, there's the TikTok people who are the face of the brand, so I thought they're definitely aiming it at my age group. I just don't care. I'm not interested in lip glosses in those little tubes, really. I don't know. It's just not. I don't even like Morphe. I've never really trusted them. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to support that brand even if I was interested, but it just, I don't know, something about it just bores me, and I feel like it should be like, oh yeah, that's what I've been wanting this whole time, but I'm like, no, I just don't care. This one is sad. So Cover FX came out with the tinted moisturizer, and at first I thought their promotion photo was just like, you know, a sampling of like, here's 4 shades in our shade range. You know, they typically like want to show a couple, like they might not have in the picture all of the shades, but turns out no, they just have 4 shades. I don't understand. Why is this still happening? It's stupid. It's stupid, and I don't understand how we're at the point in 2020, everything that's gone on in 2020, and brands are still like, let's come up with 4 shades. I don't care how, it's gotta be the most lightly tinted moisturizer for it to actually work for that wide of a shade range with 4 shades. Like, no doubt, that lightest shade is gonna be too dark for me, and the darkest shade is gonna be way too light for way too many people. And it's just like, not only there's the depths of skin tones, but there's also undertones that they just are ignoring too. Like, and I know their foundation has a lot of shades, so I don't understand why. I don't feel like dealing with that right now. It's just, what is going on? So Colourpop has come back with full force. Obviously they've been back for a bit because they released the tie-dye collection, which I actually did buy the in a trans palette, because it literally, as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, that's the palette I've always wanted and I wish existed, and now it does. With the exception of the glitter. I threw it away because I don't care. I don't want glitter. It's not good for anyone. But they came out with this Wild Nothing palette. They're really right. It's just a nothing release. Like, it's nothing. It's cactus themed, so as an Arizonian, I can critique it, because I know what cactuses look like. And the color scheme is just, I mean, they got the color scheme right in a sense of, I'm bored, and it's too many browns, which I think is the desert for you. For a cactus-themed palette, there's only 1 green. Cactuses can be several different shades of green, and also just like, they have this picture of a cactus with this beautiful, bright, pink flower, and they got like, kind of pinkish browns going on. First off, spoiler, oh my gosh. I didn't think I would finish that powder that fast, but here we are.
First day of senior year. I look around at these kids I've known all my life and wonder what happened.
So that's basically all I have to say about that collection. It's just, we've seen it before. If you're gonna make a, I like the cactus theme. The packaging is stunning, and I just feel like the inside is underwhelming, and I'm tired of just underwhelming releases. Makeup, this market is just so incredibly saturated that it takes a lot for me to actually be interested by a new release. I guess I'm just kind of bored. Don't get me wrong, there are palettes I am interested in and makeup products, but just not those. This next one, wow, talk about beautiful packaging. Huda Beauty made these new body highlighters? No, oh yeah, all over highlighting powder, so you can put it anywhere. Cause, you know, all of us staying at home love to cover ourselves in highlighter. I mean, if you do, that's cool. You know, that's fun. But it's I wouldn't want to use that because it is so gorgeous. The pressing pattern in the pan, it looks like a diamond. It looks so beautiful that it's like, it's too beautiful. You know, I want my makeup to be pretty, but if it's that pretty, then I'm scared to use it. I don't really understand body highlighter in the first place, especially if it's a powder. Wouldn't it just kind of like wipe off? I just feel like they could have made these smaller, made them face highlights. I don't really understand the body highlight thing. So this next release is the I Heart Revolution burger palettes. I thought we left behind the like savory food eyeshadow palette trend back in like 2019. I think we should have left it back in 2018, but here we really are.
First day of senior year.
Neither are super unique color stories. I just don't understand why anyone would, who likes burgers enough that, and makeup. You gotta like makeup and burgers enough to want a burger themed eyeshadow palette. I just feel like that's not really a big market of people, but I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong, but it's just, I just don't understand. I'm just so tired of brands doing just, didn't that one brand already make like a burger palette, or is that a taco palette? I don't know. Why? Why? So this is a very cool tone look. I like cool tones, but I'm basically just using up the last of shades that are so close to being done that I just don't want them to be hanging around anymore. But, you know, it's not for me. I think the box that comes in is actually kind of, it's creative. I'll give them that. It's creative. It just seems like we've been over this. We've done the food palettes. Can we find inspiration somewhere else? Now, this next one, everyone's been talking about the Patrick Star brand release of One Size. First off, I don't know how I feel about that name. What is that supposed to mean? Like, I guess in terms of like usage, makeup, there's no like sizes, so you know, it fits everyone if they want it, but like not every makeup flatters everyone. So I wouldn't say that makeup is like a one size fits all if you like think about it. I guess technically it is, but in actuality it's not really that much. But everyone's been talking about how he first released a makeup removing mist, which first off, I don't know why you would use a mist of all things. Like, I feel like it'd be so easy to spray in your eyes and just you're in pain. But maybe that's because I find makeup removing stuff often stings my eyes because I have sensitive skin and just a sensitive being. So there's that, and then the wipes, it's just like not environmentally friendly. So really, it also not cost effective. It comes with like 21 wipes and it was too expensive for that. I don't remember the price. I don't care to look it up, but that, I feel like that shouldn't have been his first release. He could release those, sure, but I would say people were disappointed overall in just that being the first release. I feel like if you released that later, fine. It wouldn't have made as big of a problem, but since it's the first one, it was similar to how like Tati released those vitamins and everyone was like, we thought you were coming out with makeup or skincare or something, but you came out with pills that we didn't really care about. So yeah, just, I know he should release what he wants to, but it's just a weird first release. One thing that has interested me is something that no one's talking about because it's from the Ulta brand, not the poorly timed Harry Potter collection. Like, that's funny. I'm not even a Harry Potter fan, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I could design better color stories for those palettes. But anyways, Ulta came out with this Here for the Cake eyeshadow palette for their, I think, 30th anniversary. And while most people would be like, that's some dusty, ashy, boring shit right there, I'm over here like, that's me. It looks perfect for my complexion because it's like this super pale. For some reason there's like 3 shades that look very autumnal in undertone, which kind of throws me off, but all the rest of them look so beautiful and springy. And I think a lot of people are like, that's not inclusive for a palette, and while I agree it wouldn't work on a lot of skin tones, but the thing is, like I said earlier, makeup isn't one size. It's not meant to work for every skin tone. There's a lot of, the reason I haven't really bought Juvia's Place palettes is because most of the time there's a lot of dark shades that I just wouldn't get use out of. It's just, they wouldn't be super flattering on me because I'm so pale and I'm not into super dark colors all the time. And that's fine. I have nothing against brands coming out with deeper shades that flatter a lot of deeper skin tones. I think that's awesome because a lot of brands haven't been doing that for ages. However, I feel like we should also be okay with paler palettes because a lot of us pale people don't want super dramatic looks, and a lot of things look dramatic on our face. Look at this. That's dramatic. And so I just feel like it's a really nice neutral kind of I love pastels because they flatter me so much more than any other type of color. I find bright colors don't flatter me as well, and I just don't want to feel guilty for liking something that'll work on my skin tone and people saying that's a racist release. It looks like cake colors. They made it based off of cake. Cake is usually pastel and light, especially vanilla. There's like pistachio, strawberry, all those things are related to cake. Of course it's gonna be light, unless if you're getting chocolate, which they do have like a brown or two. It makes sense with the color scheme. I don't know. I'm interested in that, but I definitely wouldn't buy it now. It's $20 for 15 shades, and since it's Ulta brand, I can assure you it's gonna be on sale in like a couple months. So I'm just gonna wait till that happens and see how I feel then. So, I just saw a new release from Charlotte Tilbury, the beautifully packaged, overpriced brand of the year. They came out with another shade of their setting powder that everyone loves to use on their under eyes. So they came out with one in the shade Deep. It's not that deep. Also, it's really hard to talk while putting this on. Wow. Brands that come out with deeper shades later to try to look less just non-inclusive. I don't know, it just seems a little sketch. I don't know how I feel about this lipstick with this eyeshadow, but you know, I can't go back now. Technically I could, but I don't feel like it. Also, how is it when I'm talking and I'm not paying attention, I can apply lipstick just fine, and then when I'm like doing it normally, I'd struggle. I find that I can apply mascara and lipstick just fine while we're in the car, it's like moving. But when there's a challenge, I can do it fine, but when I'm just doing it normally, nothing's moving, I'm not far away, all of a sudden I'm like, what's a lip line? Now my lips are twice as big as they originally are because I can't follow my lip line. I don't know why. This is probably the last thing I'm going to talk about, but Dose of Colors came out with 5-pan palettes, and while they've done that for years, they've always been all matte. And I've heard that people love their matte formula. I've never bought any because I like drugstore prices. And while I wouldn't buy these, the color stories are so beautiful. I think it's a kind of an interesting time of year to release this color story, but that greeny, I think it's called Cutting Edge is the palette, and it's just these like mustardy, grungy greens with like that warm brownish color. And while I know they wouldn't look good on me, I still really love that vibe, those colors. I just think it's stunning, and I love the shade selection. I think it was just really smart, and it has a good variety. For just 5 pans, I feel like it's a nice pairing since you don't have a ton of shades to work with. I think those are smart shades to have. And then the Smoky Soiree, I'm not quite as into, but I do think it's really beautiful. However, I do think that brown pairs really nicely with the rest. I just feel like I understand why they did the black, you know, it's a smoky eye, but every other eyeshadow palette comes with the black, and I feel like for a 5-pan, you want something, you want all of the shades to be something you love, and most people already have a black, and if you don't, you probably don't want a black. And I understand maybe you want to travel with the black, but I just feel like they could have chosen, it could have been a deep shade, but it doesn't have to be a black. It could have been like super deep red or a deep purple or a deep green with the shimmer. I don't know what, I don't think those would necessarily work, but just like something that isn't black. I do think these color schemes are really nice, and somehow they seem fresh and different. I know they're not all together like super unique, but it's just, they do seem, something about it just doesn't seem as boring and repetitive as a lot of the recent releases I've seen. I just finished my makeup. My hair's still weird, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to do. I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know if you want me to do this more often, but yeah, I hope that you have an amazing day. Bye!